I'm at that point in the day where I realize that it's like halfway through the day and I have not drinking a single sip of water. I'm so sorry to my body. Hello sweet friends and welcome back to my channel. Welcome to a new video, welcome to a new day. It is such a beautiful day outside. Wow. So blessed. I have been wanting to kind of mix up what I'm doing for my monthly TBR. Last month I did an Instagram chooses my TBR, and then for the first other few months of the year and then part of late last year I started doing my TBR jar, which I think is really fun and I really enjoy doing that, but I've just been kind of, like I said, been wanting to like mix it up lately and maybe do something different every month. So I had a really fun idea for my July TBR. So over the last few days and week-ish, I've been going to a bunch of different YouTubers channels and just searching through their videos for their favorite books, 5-star reads, tier ranking videos, anything like that that would give me an idea of like what their favorite books are. And a lot of them I do just watch on a normal like day-to-day basis, so I have an idea already of what their favorite books are. But going to those specific videos where they talk about their favorite books or their like most common book recommendations, that gave me just like a really good idea of what their like top tier ones are. Then I also did a lot of Goodreads stalking as well. So there's one of two ways that I could have done this video. So the first way that I was thinking about doing it is just by going to those videos and like choosing those booktubers specific favorite books. Or the second way that I chose to do it, and the way that I'm choosing to do it in this video, is watching a bunch of booktubers videos of their favorite books and then picking the books that are the most common out of all the YouTubers' favorites. So pretty much in this video I'm reading all of your favorite YouTubers' favorite books. And a lot of these are actually very popular books that I am just very behind on reading. So a lot of these books, I think a lot of these YouTubers read them within the last year or so. But again, I'm late to the party, so I think that's gonna be really fun for me though. And since a lot of you guys have probably already read these books as well, it might be more fun for you guys because you already know like what happens in these books. I'm babbling now, but I'm going to get straight into it. And the first one is going to be literally a surprise to no one. And that is Beach Read by Emily Henry. This book was the most common among all of the videos that I had watched and all of the Goodreads that I had stalked. This one was a 5-star read for Sara, Haley, Destiney, and Allie. And then I think Alexa gave it 4 stars, but it was still like, I think one of her favorites. But on her Goodreads, she rated it 4 stars, so I was just assuming that was like up there, you know? I will put some of the Goodreads reviews that I found, but so many of them absolutely rave about this book. And I was watching, I think, Destiney and Sarah's tier ranking or like top favorite like recommendations videos. I'll also put like screenshots of the videos that I watched that I found these books in and whatnot, but I think Haley as well. And maybe Allie? I don't know. But all of them literally just rave about this book and they say that this will forever be like a 5-star, it will forever live in their minds. And I mean, I've heard that from literally every single person that has read this book. So I'm like, I literally just need to read this. I don't know like why it's taking me so long, but I just read my first Emily Henry book, technically, which was Funny Story, and that was this month in June, which depending on when this comes out, it might be last month. But I'm just now dabbling into Emily Henry. I know it's taken me so long, but I'm finally here and I finally get the hype. This one follows August and January. August is an acclaimed author of literary fiction, and January Andrews writes best-selling romance. So pretty much they're polar opposites. But I believe over the summer, they are staying in beach houses that are in the same neighborhood, so they end up striking a deal designed to force them out of their creative rut. So Augustus Everett will spend the summer writing something happy, and January will pen the next great American novel. So this is pretty much like opposites attract and like rivals to lovers or something like that. I don't know if it's rivals to lovers necessarily, but it's definitely opposites attract, like opposites. Is it opposites attract? I don't know. All the tropes honestly confuse me, but you understand what I'm saying. I am predicting that this is going to be a 5-star read just because of how many people rave about it and just from my experience reading Emily Henry's writing. But I have also heard that Funny Story is a little bit different than her other books, like especially her older books versus her newer books. I don't know. So I guess I'll find out. The next one that I have is a YA. Oh, and I should also mention that I'm talking about all the romances first. But the next one I have is a YA romance, and that is Better Than the Movies. I know Haley Pham raves about this all the time, and I got this book idea from Alexa's video, which I believe was books that will get you into reading. Again, I'll put a screenshot over here. But Sara and Destiney also put this book in some of their like book recommendations videos. So this is a top book for a lot of your favorite booktubers. Let's count how many times I'm gonna say book or booktuber in this video. This one I honestly don't know much about about it. All I do know is that I think it is friends to like best friends to lovers or childhood friends to lovers maybe. But it looks adorable. I heard it has a lot of like movie and possibly music references, but I think mostly movie references. Obviously it's called Better Than the Movies. But I'm just so excited for this one. It's been on my TBR for so long, and every single time I talk about this and any other video that I filmed, I get so many comments that are like, I can't believe you haven't read this yet. Like, please read this book. What am I doing? I don't know, but I'm going to read this book this month. And next will also be one that is probably no surprise to you all, and that is The 7-Year Slip by Ashley Poston. This book blew up last year. I have not read any of Ashley Poston's books yet, so this will be my first one. And this book recommendation I got from Allie Goodwin's videos. Then going into Goodreads, I saw that Sarah, Destiney, and Haley all rated it 4.5 or above. But literally the way that Allie talked about it in her videos just straight up convinced me. I mean, like, I've been convinced that I needed to read this book, but then I saw Allie's video and I was like, okay, now I really need to read this book. So this, I don't really know a whole lot what it's about either. All I know is that it follows our main character, Clementine, I think, and she moves into, I think it's like her aunt's apartment or something. Yeah, she moves into her late aunt's apartment and finds a strange man standing in the kitchen. But he exists in the past, 7 years in the past to be exact. And she quite literally lives 7 years in the future. So it's just like a magical realism, time travel-y-ish type of romance book. But I've heard that it also has such beautiful writing on like Clementine's like development in general. I've just heard that it's very like emotional, kind of in the best way, like it just makes you think about things, and it portrays so many things in such a beautiful way. So I'm literally so excited for this. So now we are going into my fantasy, dystopian, historical, I don't know, like those kinds of vibes. The first one I have is Lovely War, which if you did see my last video where I go road trip to see Ashlynn and Ian, I did get this book on that trip. And Ashlynn said that this was one of her top 3 reads like of the year so far. So she convinced me immediately to read this book. And then I also saw on Goodreads, and I think she put it in one of her videos, but Destiney rated it 5 stars, I think, as well. This one is a historical, I think it's kind of like historical fantasy romance-ish. It's got some like Greek mythology type of stuff in it because I believe it's following like Greek gods like Ares, Hades, Aphrodite, Apollo, but it's set like in World War I time. So that's honestly all I really know about it, but the way that Ashlynn was talking about it, it just sounds so beautiful and intriguing and something that I would really, really enjoy. And it is kind of out of my comfort zone because I've been dabbling more into historical fiction, but it's definitely not something that I like search for when going book shopping, you know? So I'm really interested and excited to see how I enjoy this one, especially since it does mix like historical stuff with Greek stuff. I don't know, that just always intrigues me. So that one's gonna be a really fun read. The next one I have is actually one that I started this month, but I'm not very far into it and I really want to finish it in July. And that is Red Rising. And this is, again, one of Ashlynn, Ian, and Haley's favorites. Haley has raved about it in a lot of her videos. Ashlynn and Ian both were raving about it the entire time that I was there. And I just feel like it's time. It's, you know, when you have like a book on your shelf that's kind of intimidating, but you know that everybody else loves it, and that makes it a little bit more intimidating for you to pick up. I feel like that's how I am with this book. I'm like, I just need to do it already. And like I said, I did end up picking it up, and I got about 124 pages in. I'm so lost, honestly, in this book. Like, I feel like everything that's happening is just going like over my head, and for some reason I'm just not following like what's happening. But I am only 125 pages in, so I feel like I just need to keep going. Like, I'm intrigued, I'm liking this book, I'm just not totally mentally following what's going on, if that makes sense. Like, it's almost, do you ever feel like you're not smart enough for books sometimes? Which I know that is not the case, but sometimes I read a book and I'm like, am I just dumb? Like, what is happening in my brain? And that's just kind of how I feel like in this book. I'm like, is this just a me problem where things are just not like clicking together and like making sense linearly? I love the idea, I love the atmosphere. Okay, that's where I think it's just like I'm just having a really hard time like imagining it in my head, like what's going on, because I feel like he does a good job of like telling the story, but something that I've personally felt is that he doesn't do a great job of like descriptive world building, if that makes sense. So I feel like we just kind of got placed somewhere without that buildup of like what everything's like, how it operates, how like what it looks like. And so that's where I think I'm just getting lost. But again, still really intrigued by it, still enjoying it. I just need to keep going, and I think it'll like just pick up as I'm going. I just zoned out for literally so long. I'm back. Okay, and then my next one that I have is a YA fantasy, and that is Dance of Thieves. This is another one that has been on my TBR for literally so long, and I don't know why I haven't picked it up yet. I think I just needed this kind of motivation to pick it up. And this recommendation I got from Sara and Destiney, because this was in both of their semi-recent videos. Sara posted one that was book recommendations for whatever mood you're in, I think. And then Destiney's was my go-to book recommendations, I think. And then I also know that Haley really likes this one, because I think she also gave it a 5-star. Oh, and Rachel also gave it a 4.5. So, many of your favorite booktubers have loved this book. This one, I believe, is a YA enemies to lovers. The back is super short, so I'm just going to read it. So it says, a formidable outlaw family that claims to be the first among nations, a son destined to lead, thrust suddenly into power, 3 fierce young women of the Rattan, the queen's premier guard, a legendary street thief leading a mission determined to prove herself, a dark secret that is a threat to the entire continent. When outlaw leader meets reformed thief, a cat and mouse game of false moves ensues, bringing them intimately together in a battle that may cost them their lives and their hearts. It sounds so good. Don't know why it's taking me so long to pick this up, but this will be the month. I am determined. I've been doing really good with following my June TBR. I did a little bit of an ambitious TBR for June, so I haven't finished all of them, but I've finished a lot more than I usually do on previous TBRs, so I'm on a good roll of following that. So the next two I don't have in person, but I have them on my Kindle, and I'm actually so mad because this next one that I'm talking about, I actually had a physical copy, and then I was like, I don't know if I'm ever gonna read this. And then when I was in Utah this past weekend, Ian convinced me to read this book, and I'm so mad that I got rid of it. But that is Billy Summers. So I've been very hesitant to start Stephen King because I just feel like I have a really sensitive brain sometimes, and I just feel like his writing is going to be hard for my sensitive brain. And I was also very, very confused about like all of his work, because he has so many books, and I was just so confused and intimidated about like where to start. So if you watch Ian a lot, which you should, you'll know that he really loves Stephen King. So I was literally asking him about like what is going on here? What is the world like? Explain the world of Stephen King to me. And so he did, and he showed me a couple other videos that really like helped me understand his whole collection and whatnot. So I asked him, okay, like if you were to give me a book recommendation like for this video, and just one that you really enjoy that you think I should start with, like what would that be? And he said Pet Sematary or Billy Summers. So I originally was going to go with Pet Sematary because that's one that he was like, I feel like you should start with that one. And I was like, okay. But I feel like that one might be a little bit too like dark for my brain right now, and I really actually want to read that in spooky season, so I think I might put that one off to read maybe in like October. And so I'm choosing Billy Summers because that just I feel like more aligns with my brain right now. And I also know that both Haley and Ashlynn have read this book and really enjoyed it. The little synopsis says Billy Summers is a man in a room with a gun. He's a killer for hire and the best in his business, but he'll do the job only if the target is a truly bad guy. Kind of reminds me of Dexter, but obviously very different circumstances. And now Billy wants out, but first there is one last hit. Billy is among the best snipers in the world, a decorated Iraq war vet, a Houdini when it comes to vanishing after the job is done, so what could possibly go wrong? How about everything? So this just sounds so good. I think I've been so hesitant to read it, and I think the reason that I got rid of it was because I've heard that there's kind of like a weird twist in the middle of the book, and it gets a little bit like it's kind of trigger heavy. So yeah, I was just scared. I was just intimidated, and so I got rid of my copy, which I'm literally so mad at myself for doing that. And this makes me like second guess myself when it comes to like book unhauling, because I'm like, okay, maybe you should like think about it for a little bit longer. But I digress. I'm very excited to read this book now. Ashlynn and Ian both can literally convince me to read anything. And the last book that I have on my July TBR is Heartless Hunter. And this one wasn't necessarily in the group of like booktubers' favorite books, because this is actually my July book club pick for Patreon, but I was watching some videos and Rachel and I believe Destiney both recently read this and really enjoyed it, so that also convinced me. And Liv also from Liv's Library, she recently read it and really enjoyed it. So all of their reviews convinced me to put this on the July book picks and it ended up being the winner. So that's what we're gonna read for July. This one, again, don't know a whole lot about it, but I know that it is a world where witches are hunted, and so our main character is a witch hunter, if that makes sense. But the love interest is a witch hunter. So it sounds pretty high stakes, I think I would say. It just sounds like there's a lot that could go wrong, and I just love books like that where you're just kind of like on the edge of your seat, like, oh my gosh, this could literally blow up at any second. And the cover is absolutely gorgeous. So I'm really excited to get a physical copy of this book. But it is on Kindle Unlimited. It just got so dark. But it is on Kindle Unlimited. So I think I'm going to get it from there. That must be a very thick cloud, because there's not many clouds in the sky. It's a very blue, sunny day. Dude, what is happening? Watch me change my settings and then it literally go back to being super bright. So, just doing a little recap. We have The 7-Year Slip by Ashley Poston, Better Than the Movies by Lynn Painter, Dance of Thieves by Mary E. Pearson, Red Rising by Pierce Brown, Lovely War by Julie Berry, Beach Read by Emily Henry, and then we have Billy Summers and The Heartless Hunter. I'm so ridiculously excited to read these books in July. Again, like I said, I'm extremely late to the party on like 90% of these books, so I think that makes it even kind of more exciting because a lot of other people have already read these books. I feel like some of these too, like I kind of said, are a little bit out of my comfort zone. They're not really ones that I would generally pick up, especially like Billy Summers, Lovely War, Heartless Hunter, Red Rising. Like I feel like those are just ones that I generally wouldn't instinctually reach for, you know? But I trust everybody's reviews and recommendations. Oh, the cloud's gone. But anyway, guys, yep, that is it for today. Let me know if you have read any of these books and what you rated them, because I'm very curious. But I love you guys so much. If you would like to read Heartless Hunter with us in July, I will link my Patreon below. I hope everybody has an amazing and beautiful rest of your week, and I will see you guys in my next video. Mwah!